All three instincts are essential to being human. And over time, across many different cultures, we've developed rituals to address the fears and the needs of each instinct. And it's been a lot easier to locate the fears and the needs of self-pres or social everywhere. But today, we'll be locating all three instinctual needs and fears as various cultural practices, rituals, and rites.
Oh, wait, we got all three instincts here.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, that was the idea.
Oh, that was the idea, wasn't it? I didn't know.
You didn't know
I was just like, oh, fun, Sammy's coming.
We had a vision here.
No, I was not on the same page.
You just thought Sammy was here because I like her? She's like a
yeah,
cool person.
I was just like, oh, cool, Sammy's here.
That's not enough.
That's not enough.
She's only useful because
I have
of
to
her
be
typing.
useful. Yes.
You have to be likable and useful.
Got it. Makes sense.
All right. So, we're going to start with self-pres. Like, what are we looking for in terms of the cultural practices and rituals for self-pres?
Okay, self-pres. Main thing I saw with all of these, kind of going down a rabbit hole on YouTube of different rituals, like big things to look out for is endurance, abundance, healing, relationships with nature, protection, and changing of seasons, and basically an overall relying on relationships with the land and its resources, powers, and magic. Like, this is huge. I mean, each one of these instincts you're going to see in every single culture, like, just in some form, because it, like you're saying, it was a need. And they understood the suffering and the fears of these instincts, and those are kind of articulated through ritual and connected to through ritual and, like, expressed. So with self-pres, it's like, that's where you really see, you know, connection with nature, understanding land, and, like, what you're getting out of it, what it's giving you versus what you can control versus what you can't, and sort of like how that enriches your life as a human being, how you have to kind of like intuit things in different ways and like connect to its healing powers and its ways that it can make your life abundant or destroy it.
Yeah, and there are a couple instances that would apply to multiple instances. I found one deity, Mami Wata, in like West Africa that is both self-pres and sexual. People worship this god so they can get benefits like self-pres benefits, wealth. But the way that you have to commune with this god is very much, there's a sexual instinct aspect of that god as well. So there's a couple, we're going to look at that one for both.
Yeah, I found some that kind of seemed to be like that, you know, when we get to social, I found one that was like more social sexual and ones that were more social self-pres. So there is a way that like the kind of fluidity of the instincts moving together, and some of them are kind of more obvious than others.
Let's look at the first one.
Ando intras verru, sas dies s'incursiana. Esas notes son longas. Ando tutta sa natura si vrimmada, s'ammuda. Su beso de sus sonazos nos mantiene atacados a esa tierra. Sa mente volada e su ritmo cominciará. Justa esa vida nostra.
Interesting.
Yeah, that was so cool.
And they do that because why?
So I did some research on it, and its original source, because it's so ancient, they kind of don't know like the exact why. But what they're assuming is like the bells, which is symbolic for kind of a lot of cultures, it's to ward off evil spirits. And with the changing of the seasons, it was like, they heavily relied on the resources that the land in this area are meant to provide them in their town. And so it's like to have some kind of spiritual connection with nature and the different gods that you would have to, be in some kind of communion with or to understand. It was like a way to make sure that their year was bringing blessings in their resources,
Yeah.
And so like there's a lot more to the ritual, and like there's other countries that kind of do something similar with bells, and it's usually a night or 2 or 3 of like drinking and feasting and kind of just bringing in a different part of the year and acknowledging that there's going to be new struggles or new ways to connect with the land, new things to expect, blah, blah, blah.
That's really interesting when you think about how we make a god out of each of our dominant instincts, and then literally people are praying to deities for their instinctual needs. Like there's a couple of ones that that I've looked at where I need money, so I'm going to offer something to God, and we see that in the Bible a lot. Of I'm going to offer something to God, and then in the morning there's going to be food. There's food. There's money for me. So it's just kind of interesting how we turn whatever deity that we're worshiping into our instincts.
Yeah, because I mean, self-pres was pretty easy to find. Like under this category, I have crop sacrifices, fertility rituals, farming, like anything that's kind of just like give me the abundance of my self-preservation, make sure it's protected, make sure I'm, sufficient enough in time, money, resources.
Let's see. You have pagan ceremonies.
Right, because I wanted to know about like human sacrifices.
Yeah.
And just like, because that was a big thing, but there's a reason for it, And this guy talked about druids and like, because druids are like, very, very old, possibly Celtic. Don't quote me on that, but like they have a very, very long history. And they were mainly nature-based people, and they're known for human sacrifices. And so this guy kind of talks about possibly why that is, like the sacred symbolism of it, and it just is so, like, I think it gets at the symbolism of self-pres, like, at its core, and how people connected to self-pres as an instinct when it wasn't, like, just a kind of like a neurotic need, but rather a more cosmic, experience. And I think it's really cool.
This passage is interesting in how stating how druids could perceive the future by watching the sacrificed body fall to the ground and how it twitched as it was absorbed into the cosmos. Now, this may seem an odd form of prophecy to some who are not familiar with Indo-European cosmogony, but if we look back at the Indo-European myth of creation, the cosmos, the world, was built from the body of a man, and man gives his body back to the cosmos when he dies. I'll talk about this in this video if you want to understand this further, as to show that the Druids understood that there was a link between man and the cosmos, shows us that the Indo-European myth of creation was alive and well at this time in the Celtic culture and was practiced by the Druids. So sacrifice was a carefully considered ritual act. This idea of the body and the cosmos being connected was the basis of the subject that the Greco-Romans would eventually called physiology. And whilst we see Druids having knowledge of the Indo-European creation myth, this watching of the body as it died also shows a view of physiological knowledge. Now, the point of discussing all this is to understand if the Druids were barbaric in performing human sacrifice. And whilst today we all know human sacrifice to be barbaric and unnecessary, 2,000 years ago, views were different. Then, human sacrifice was a way of obtaining a considered view of the cosmos because the cosmos and man were connected, and this was the reason for the sacrifice. These sacrifices were not carried out for the pure purpose of killing someone unnecessarily. No. It was carried out to restore the cosmos and to understand that, well, what the state of the cosmos was. We must also understand that such sacrifices were not common, as the communities the Celts lived in, as well as other similar cultures such as the Germanic tribes, were small farming communities. They did not live in cities like Romans or Greeks, and so sacrificing a member of their society to restore the cosmos was a serious act. Again, a very well considered act. And so I would stand by the argument that the Druids were not barbaric, not in the true sense of the word. Their ritualistic behaviour was well considered, much like how Indo-Europeans consider magic, which I talk about in these videos. But there was a logic and a purpose to these acts. And this is doubly so if you consider they spent 20 years learning about the nature of the cosmos.
Yeah, so I mean, I read a book a while ago that kind of talked about this and like the more taboo aspects of ancient civilizations and their practices and stuff, and it was just basically pointing out like how there had to have been some kind of sacred connection. And so that guy explaining like the body connected to the cosmos, like this was really important, like how people were connected to their bodies in general, which is why you would be praying to and doing rituals for gods, for self-pres. It's like, because I'm literally like living in this body and I could die. Like people were connected to how death manifests and in what ways and what it means and stuff like that. And that's just being a huge part of self-preservation. That's why we self-preserve. I just found that kind of interesting how he explained that.
It's interesting thinking about like funerals you could think of funerals as a ritual. Like why do we do that versus just dumping the body in a ditch somewhere? There's something about death and the ritual of this person's passing over to the other side, and this is more elaborate, a more elaborate like respect of the cycle of life, and to sacrifice someone, that's wow.
And was he saying that like by watching like how the body dies, like watching the state of the body as it dies is like saying something about the state of the cosmos also? Like that was really interesting.
Yeah. And I think that's what was, I mean, you can see that theme throughout other cultures as well. Like, I think that's like a Buddhist practice. Very different, though. I think it's watching a corpse die or like decompose, I mean. And then I was trying to look for stuff with like the Aztec and Mayan civilizations and the Incans and stuff like that in South America, because they did a lot of sacrifices as well that were really important to them. Yeah, a lot. And some of them were even children that they deliberately like would raise and knew like this was going to be a person, they were going to be sacrificed at this age. And they would treat them really well, and then take the kid to like a mountain or a volcano or something. And yeah, so it was like, this was something, this had much more of a weight to it than we put to death today, obviously.
I wonder why we stopped doing that.
That's what I've been saying. Our crops are terrible.
Bring back
I could think of a few people that we could sacrifice right now.
And that's it, like, yeah, like there were many reasons for it, but one of them, like he was saying, like understanding the cosmos and understanding our connection to it and understanding what it needs, because part of like self-preservation rituals is not just fulfilling what we need, it is giving something to the gods as well, that as if the gods have a similar need, or as if they experience something similar to us that we have to like return. It's a constant coming and returning and process. Let me show you guys this other one, this Mami Wata. So this is West African. It's
kind of blended, because I mean, mermaid myth or deities are all over. And so this was already pre-existing in Africa, and then of course the Europeans came over and they also kind of rediscovered, oh hey, you guys have mermaid figures on your ships. That reminds us of the mermaid gods that we worship. And so there's some history there of certain elements of European myth with mermaids blending with African myth. Even the name has some Creole origins as well. So it's kind of interesting how the same myth is just all over the world. It's the god of the water, and it's god of fertility, god of transformation, fertility, creativity, and spiritual transformation. So it's got some self-presence, sexual, and some of the imagery is a woman with the snake or a mermaid.
The mermaid is supposed to possess powers, and people who can commune with the mermaid can share in the power. I remember when Nkrumah, our first president, there was a belief that he communed with the mermaid, and even during election, he can command or ask the mermaid to send
this is the possession
people
part
to vote for him, and then they return to the sea.
That's just the self-pres aspect of it. In order to get your self-pres needs, you have to offer things. But the ceremony of communing with the god is very much sexual, lose control and allow it to take over.
Yeah, in a lot of the sexual ones that I found, there was usually some kind of like feasting and like offering and stuff mixed in with it too.
Mm-hmm. We assume that the gods that we worship have the same needs that we have, or that we're wanting from them. So it's like, well, if I want self-pres stuff from God, I need to offer self-pres stuff, bodies, food, money. Because I mean, I forgot even tithing and offering in church, self-pres. Like, I'm waiting for the self-pres lecture from Sammy. This is her time to shine.
All right, go time, Sammy.
Yeah.
Tell us about all the human sacrifices you do in your
self-pres
apartment.
rituals. What are your self-pres rituals?
Yeah. Tell me your shrines.
My self-pres rituals?
Do you channel while you brush your teeth? Do you you chant? Do you do your cleanses?
Well, actually, let me think about this. Sorry, I didn't even think about this. Sorry.
Do you eat?
I eat.
You say why are you eating?
Freak out if your self-pres needs and rituals aren't done or met?
I'd say, so everything for me, it comes down to like feeling very sensitive to my body and what I'm experiencing, and getting very uptight or nervous if that stuff's not working. So then I tend to like overdo certain things, and then I underdo stuff that it's very imbalanced. It's
How do you get into balance?
I have not been able to do that yet. It's not, because it's obviously, it's the dominant instinct, and so it's not gonna be super balanced.
See, I guarantee you, if you sacrifice something, not a human, but some living being, if you were to sacrifice it,
maybe,
I feel like you would come into balance.
I have to like maybe light my dollar bills on fire or something.
Like maybe a mouse.
A mouse?
Mouse.
Kill a mouse.
They have to die anyway, so you might as well sacrifice it.
Yeah. You put the blood over your door for
there
protection.
Yeah.
Passover.
That's something like that. Salt. You can use salt. Sprinkle some salt for protection.
Or you can put some food in a bowl and just leave it out for the gods by your door.
Yeah.
That's a safe one. And maybe you'll find money or some other thing that you need.
When I was a kid, my friend and I, we would make this like special kind of lemonade, and we would leave it out in the backyard and for fairies, and we would like watch as like the lemonade would like get smaller and smaller.
There you
we
go.
were convinced it was the fairies drinking the lemonade.
Bring it back. Bring it back.
Yeah, we should. I don't know if I got anything out of it. I don't know if it helped us in any way, but it was really fun. So we should do it again.
Sometimes when you leave things out something else comes in. I'll leave my laptop open, and I'll notice when I look at my history, there has been someone browsing the internet at 4 a.m. It wasn't me.
What?
I don't know. You seem to keep, sort of a strange sleep schedule, Emeka. So maybe you're just doing some sort of like sleepwalking.
I was definitely not awake at 3:49
Wait, are you being serious?
Yes.
Are you being serious?
I believe
so
you.
What's searching?
I locked
What
my
is it?
doors. There's no way anyone went.
Well, like, what's on your computer? What is it?
It wasn't like an extensive search, but like it means that someone was on the computer at the time when I was asleep, and I was like,
How old's the building that you're in?
it's pretty old.
It's pretty
It's
old.
pretty old. But I was like, I'm not sleepwalking. There's no way.
It's a ghost.
It's a ghost.
I didn't have this as a thing to watch, but one of the things I included that I do probably also have sexual a little bit in it is the temples of Asclepius.
Okay.
You don't have to play it, but basically it were the temples in like, what is it, Greece or Rome or whatever Asclepius is in, and people would go, he's like the god of like healing and messengers and stuff like that, and they would go and if they had some kind of like ailment, so again self-pres is concerned about your physical well-being and your health and stuff like that. This is kind of like leaning into sexual, where they would go in.
I could play it.
For those coming to Epidaurus to be cured, however, other parts of the sanctuary would have been of primary interest, and their experience would have been quite different from the festival goers. First, one would need to go through catharsis, or purification. This involved taking a number of ritual baths, and was accompanied by a cleansing diet, which could last as long as 6 days. Then, once you were considered pure, you were ready to be diagnosed and receive prescriptions. This was done through incubatio, a sort of dream therapy. Patients would be led into the enkymeterion, or dormitory, where they would be put into a hypnotic state, likely induced by hallucinogens, and then begin their dream journey.
That's interesting.
As they slept, they would be visited by either Asclepius himself or one of his children, who would reveal a remedy for their disease. In the event that you didn't have a personal encounter in the dream, you could still report what you experienced to one of the priests and be given an interpretation. Usually, the cures involved visits to the baths or a gymnasium, although you may also have been prescribed certain diets or medicinal herbs. More advanced remedies, such as surgical operations, were also offered, for example the opening of an abdominal abscess or the removal of traumatic foreign material. In this case, again, the patient would have taken some sort of drug to serve as anesthesia.
That's really interesting, yeah.
Yeah. And it was funny, too. I'm reading this book that right now that has to do with, like, something around my area and in my family, which is, like, Pennsylvania Dutch. And, like, it's like a bastardized version of Germans that live in the area that I'm in, and it's my bloodline. And they practice witchcraft, like, way in the past, and using all different kinds of things. So I have different sources of this, of texts of this spell book that, like, became a huge occult book in America. And in there, he talks about, like, the reasons why they would do this kind of thing. And, like, similar to what they're saying here in this video, that, like, it's not just the body's health that they cared about. It is also like the spirit's health. And so your spirit was in your body, and therefore you had a relationship with that. And so when you go to like dream, it's your soul or your spirit, like it is telling you a different kind of health going on, whether it could be physical or spiritual. So like, a lot of the spells in this book will talk about like how to like deal with an enemy or something, because if you have enemies, if you have like people that want to do you harm or whatever, like that is affecting your spiritual health. Like that is going to impact, you will have physical symptoms, or you will have other kinds of like messages that like come through in dreams or your body. And so like to have a relationship with that, usually with a priest or with a medicine person that would help you and guide you through it, like that was super important in your self-preservation care and understanding.
Wow. Yeah. All right, it's time to move on to social. This is Kristen's time to shine.
I'm ready. Okay, Social keywords, these are societal roles, which were important, your cosmic belonging and connection individually and usually like collectively, ancestral honor, initiation, and status. And so these, I found some social self-prezi kind of examples, but I also found a social sexual example I think would be cool to get into. One big thing that I think is like a huge social ritual throughout, and you can find it throughout all cultures, is like some kind of initiation rite, rites of passage, and vision quests. Like those are, you go out, you basically deprive yourself of like all self-pres needs, any kind of sexual need, whatever. You are completely alone, and you receive some kind of message, or you receive some kind of guidance over your role in life, over who you are. Some cultures, like, you would be given a name, and that name was kept secret. Like, there's so many different things, and this could also be in groups. Like, it's not just like one person goes out, but like a group goes out. But basically it's like a threshold you cross that says, I am this person, I am this kind of person, and it is collectively recognized that that's, you know, a social event. So I think maybe watching the scarification one would probably, because this is kind of like very social self-pres, like it has to do with a self-pres body modification for people to know your social status. I just thought it was interesting.
Scarification is practiced for many different reasons, depending on which part of Africa you come from and the cultural belief of your tribe. The painful procedure involves cutting or piercing the skin with a sharp or hot object, leaving behind permanent scars. Scarification is often used to determine a person's tribe or family heritage. Scarring on the abdomen of women in many tribes is used to denote a willingness to be a mother. Her ability to tolerate the pain of scarring was an indication of her emotional maturity and readiness to bear children. Scarification can be used for healing a patient, changing them from a less desired state to a more desired state. It may help a patient go from a victim to a survivor. What is relevant to society varies from culture to culture. These individuals pass through various kinds of rituals which represent death and rebirth and redefine the relationship between self and society through the skin. Most people in certain regions of Africa who have markings can be identified as belonging to a specific tribe or ethnic group. So, have you ever wondered where Black Panther got the idea of skin scarification from? Well, the Dinka tribe of South Sudan has been practicing these in their culture since time immemorial.
That's great. Yeah, there's just a whole lot with social rituals. I mean, in terms of community, what you're signaling. I should have brought some of the masquerades, because growing up, that was always a thing at the end of the year. You know, this thing's going to run out and chase everyone. And these are all just social rituals for your tribe, for your community. These costumes that we wear, Halloween as a social, it's got social underpinnings to it. So, yeah. There's
all different kinds of ceremonies that are like, some are more like individualistic, that require more from just like an individual. But I mean, each one, even if it is like a society that does it together, like it's a culturally known thing, like it's still an individual experience. Like you think of like tattoos or even this scarification, like you're kind of choosing what you want to be known for, what you want other people to see you as, or to know about you. Even like the ones on the womb, it's like it's showing like I'm connected to the cosmos, like I'm ready to birth, I'm ready to like do this thing I'm meant to do. Like it's both individual and collective, which I think gets at that social part. And then the scapegoat one, I mean, we kind of talked about this in conversation a little bit, that like I wondered, scapegoats were like literal goats.
That's okay. A good idea. Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
I like the concept.
And the Lord said unto Moses, Speak unto Aaron thy brother, that he come not at all times into the holy place within the veil before the mercy seat, which is upon the ark, that he die not. for I will appear in the cloud upon the mercy seat. Thus shall Aaron come into the holy place, with a young bullock for a sin offering, and a ram for a burnt offering. He shall put on the holy linen coat, and he shall have the linen breeches upon his flesh, and shall be girded with a linen girdle, and with the linen mitre shall he be attired. These are holy garments. Therefore shall he wash his flesh in water, and so put them on. And he shall take of the congregation of the children of Israel 2 kids of the goats for a sin offering, and 1 ram for a burnt offering. And he shall take the 2 goats, and present them before the Lord at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. And Aaron shall cast lots upon the 2 goats, 1 lot for the scapegoat, and the other lot for the Lord. And Aaron shall bring the bullock of the sin offering, which is for himself, and shall make an atonement for himself and for his house, and shall kill the bullock of the sin offering which is for himself. And he shall take a censer full of burning coals of fire from off the altar before the Lord, and his hands full of sweet incense, beaten small, and bring it within the veil. And he shall put the incense upon the fire before the Lord, that the cloud of the incense may cover the mercy seat that is upon the testimony, that he die not. And he shall take the blood of the bullock, and sprinkle it with his finger upon the mercy seat eastward, and before the mercy seat shall he sprinkle of the blood with his finger 7 times. Then shall he kill the goat of the sin offering, that is for the people, and bring his blood within the veil, and do with that blood as he did with the blood of the bullock, and sprinkle it upon the mercy seat, and before the mercy seat. And he shall go out unto the altar that is before the Lord, and make an atonement for it, and shall take of the blood of the bullock, and of the blood of the goat, and put it upon the horns of the altar round about. And when he hath made an end of reconciling the holy place, and the tabernacle of the congregation, and the altar, he shall bring the live goat, and Aaron shall lay both his hands upon the head of the live goat, and confess over him all the iniquities of the children of Israel, and all their transgressions in all their sins, putting them upon the head of the goat, and shall send him away by the hand of a fit man into the wilderness.
Wow. That is social as fuck.
I know, it's so social. So basically, yeah, like the idea behind that is that it's a societal recognition that people are not perfect, and so we kind of have to like atone for our sins, our like personality issues, our instinctual mess ups, like all this stuff. And it is actually a religious and spiritual cleansing practice to say like, we are human, sorry. It's you know. And I think like, you know, people who don't practice that or understand it or have it as like, you know, conscious knowledge, like you make other people scapegoats all the time. That's where we get the term scapegoat. It is a social thing. It's like, this person carries all these traits I hate or the culture hates, and we're going to put it on them and completely disown it in ourselves. It's shadow.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to see that at some point though, and this is just, you know, one culture, it's lots that would kind of have other things similar, that we recognize that there are people that have roles, or like as humans, we just inherently have characteristics that are not pleasing. And we kind of just have to all acknowledge that. And in this case, it's actually just acknowledging it through a ritual, through an animal, through sacrifice, and saying like, all right, sorry. once a year, twice a year, whatever. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm thinking about how, as I was watching that, just how intricate it was, and how religion comes from social, or rituals comes from social, in the sense of, we just saw the self-prayers is like, I need to get my needs met, so I'm going to pray to a God to give me some food and some money. But how much more intricate it can be when you look at ritual from a social perspective, because there's so many things that we would like to commemorate and as a community recognize and create rituals to do that. Even just like, okay, we're trying to we're trying to localize everything we've done wrong in this animal and send it off as a way to sort of exercise our sins. But a wedding is a ritual to sort of recognize the union of two people. So all these social rituals that we have to commemorate something communal, and that's how, you know, stuff like religion gets created.
Right. So then the other one I think is a little, because that was like super social self-pres. That was dry. That was really dry. So like social sexual, I kind of saw in this video. And
first one is, what is black masking?
Well, the term black masking Indians is a term that we prefer to be called. People know us as the Mardi Gras Indians because we came out for Mardi Gras, right? We came out at that time because we could not celebrate Mardi Gras. Black people weren't allowed to even go on Canal Street to celebrate Mardi Gras. We celebrated Carnival. Carnival is celebrated in Brazil. It's celebrated in Cuba. It's celebrated in Haiti. It's celebrated in Trinidad. And because New Orleans is known as the most African, most Caribbean city of the United States, we celebrated Carnival. So we called ourselves back in the day Carnival Indians, but the people started saying the Mardi Gras Indians because the bigger name was Mardi Gras.
What's the difference between Super Sunday and Mardi Gras?
Mardi Gras, okay, that's that morning. On that morning, early that morning, that's the big day. You sewing all day, all year long to come out that morning. But on Super Sunday, Mare Curifayo, Indian, that's when the Indians come out. It's just the Indians. It's nothing but
no
Indians.
Floats to compete
no folks to compete with, just us. Wow. So you can stand there and watch all that beauty and pageantry that comes in front of your face. Watch years of resistance that's manifested in creativity. So that act of masking Indian is actually an act of defiance.
Wow.
Because you saying, do my time when I couldn't go on Canal Street, couldn't drink at your water fountain, couldn't go in Woolworth. I'm a chief. I'm a queen.
That's fucking cool. I have never seen that before.
Yeah, and I felt like that was more, because again, it's social in the sense of just like cultural pride and like the aesthetics of culture. There's competition, and it's like coming together and kind of celebrating, whether it's in a defiant way. Like social doesn't mean we all get along. Like social is also, we acknowledge what's wrong, and we acknowledge what's trying to break through, what's trying to be born differently because of like, you know, things happening that are pressing down on a society. Social has a lot to consider. And so then to develop ceremonies or rituals to honor that and to like express it in ways that are more creative, I think it's a great social example.
Yeah, no, that's great. Like, I mean, there's ways that the instincts can mix and blend. So like going to a carnival, going to a festival, that feels, whether or not it's social sexual or not, that is coming from a social sexual place of, we're going to some place where there are going to be explosive, you know, some spilling and madness is going to happen as we're out in public, and there's all this crackle and pop. That's really interesting. There's, I mean, all kinds of social rituals that we engage in today that play on that theme of social sexual. We're going to go and just have a social explosion, and we're going to show all our colors.
Yeah, I think she even said at the beginning too, with, you know, one that you didn't play, but that sometimes it would break. There would be fights broken out, so people would save towards the end of the year, which was similar to the thing that we watched in the other episode. Like people would wait, to fight each other for this moment because it was like they were all ready for it.
I was thinking of just social rituals that we sort of take for granted, but at the end of the year, you're going to have graduation. Just, you know, I remember as a social blind, my dad would be like, you know, where's your, you know, because he's like diploma, and he puts all that stuff on the walls, and I'm like, I don't understand why people do this. Like, why is this? I already have the degree. Why do I have to go up on stage and wave? But that the whole thing of you get your degree, you wave, everyone sees you dressed up. That's a social ritual. It's not necessarily, because from a self-pres point, it's already done. Why do I need to engage in this thing that doesn't give me anything, but like, yeah, as a social blind, recognizing that there is value to a community in engaging in these rituals, because maybe there's something about everyone witnessing you pass over or to transition of some sort, that there's some value in that. I've always thought about weddings, like, why do we still obsess about weddings? What is the value of having everyone see you make your vows versus just doing it, you know,
in
by
your
yourselves,
basement.
you know? why are we making such a big deal? But yeah, there's a power, a social, there's something about everyone seeing you or being a part of that moment.
Mm-hmm. I think there's also, like, you know, being a social type, there's something about like parts of your personality just being recognized, and witnessed, that it's like, even some of the scarification thing in the rites of passage, or you think of vision quests and stuff, it's like to know that my personhood is acknowledged on a degree that kind of feels aligned with myself, like with what I want to be doing, or with who I want to be, or parts of my personality I find valuable and stuff like that, you know, to have that mirrored in some way. That's where like social overlaps with the image center. It's like to have some kind of mirroring, whether it's obscure or not, like, you know, to have that even just in an individual relationship is super important.
Yeah, no, that's just side note with the revelation that I recently had with AI and having it tell me things about myself, and I'm recognizing, oh, this is why a lot of people have become really addicted to talking to AI, to the point where it's more effective than therapists for them, because you can literally in a dark room tell your AI anything and it will mirror it back to you. And
it's like, hey, good job.
Well, not even necessarily that. It's like it'll be critical, and it'll notice things that maybe no other human could be capable of noticing, just because it's keeping track of everything you've ever said. Mm-hmm. And so it was interesting to experience, oh, this agent is artificial intelligence, is just being able to mirror parts of myself that I haven't, you know, I might have missed or nobody else has been able to, is a simulated social instinct for me. And so, you know, as a social blind, I might look at these rituals and see, like, why do we engage in these things? But like the act of other people witnessing you have a significant moment has its own power. Mm-hmm. And you just sort of discount that that's a thing. Like, what's the big deal that someone is actually recognizing me? What difference does it make? It makes a whole lot of difference.
Mm-hmm. Right. And I think there's a spiritual aspect to that where, like, the gods, you know, kind of mirror you as well. Like it is, you know, there are different parts of the gods that cared about your personality and cared about what you were representing in your culture. Like, no matter how involved you were, that's why I think the social instinct doesn't need to be like your involvement with people. Like, no matter how involved or not you are, it is recognizing those parts of you that contribute something to the world, period. Like, whether it's creatively, whether it's like through how you help other people, whether it's through the way that you just show up in your own household. Like, it doesn't matter how, it doesn't matter the actions, but rather that you're connected to that part of yourself is like where that kind of more spiritual, godlike, divine part would be acknowledged. Like in a vision quest, you go out and you basically ask the gods, like, who am I? Like, what am I meant to be doing here? Who am I meant to be? What am I meant to be connected to? And in a vision quest, it's visions. Like, you will just get images of, you know, animals and spirits and different types of like purposes that are more broad than just like a career or like, you know, what you do for your friend. It's like a symbol is a multifaceted thing to reflect and mirror something about like your core being.
Yeah. So it's not necessarily about other people. It's about your own relationship with, you know, the universe being able to mirror back to you who you are. And yeah,
Yeah.
that's a really interesting way to look at that. All these rituals that I guess get you to commune with the cosmos in terms of you're a part of this whole thing.
Yes.
What part are you
Yeah.
playing?
Yeah. And there's something divine in the human, you know, that humans, like, one thing I want to say too, just overall about instincts, like, yes, they are in animals, but humans aren't just animals. Like, we have consciousness. And like we have a religious function, like, you know,
You haven't seen
you
cats
just choose
praying in a circle? You haven't seen that?
Yeah, exactly. Like the fact that, you know, ancient civilizations all had some kind of religious or spiritual connection means that it is absolutely embedded in our being, you know? And that's where I think segueing into the sexual instinct, like sexual was almost a way to like amplify and express the divine as if it's coming through a human instead of, you know, just so separate that we can't touch it.
Yeah. Remember, you know, growing up in church, there's like a wanting to commune with God and praise and worship God. And it becomes this thing is like, I want all these things, like I want God to be part of me. Then it becomes like an ecstatic experience of I want God to inhabit my being right now. And there are all these different rituals in church where it's like I want to be touched by God, I want to be touched by the Holy Spirit, I want to be possessed by God, you know. And sometimes you listen to preachers of church and it gets pseudo-sexual in the sense of like God's in you, and you know, people are just wanting to have this ecstatic experience of God. And growing up in church as a little sexual instant kid, of just watching all these women having ecstatic experiences in church.
Oh no.
And I'm just like, I mean, growing up now and realizing, I bet they used to have orgies in church, and they definitely did. that's I'm not pulling that out of my ass. Like, it's not far-fetched to realize, and you see all these ecstatic experiences that people all over the world are trying to have spiritually, that it makes sense that an orgy would erupt out of that, because
like your boundaries are gone.
you've let yourself go and it's an ecstatic experience. And if everyone in the room is having that experience, you can see how that could easily slip into something sexual. And so you think about all these Dionysian festivals where people take drugs and alcohol and they're getting loose, and it'll inevitably erupt into something like an orgy.
Yeah, and even speaking of like Dionysus, the myth of Dionysus, like he's basically built of part animal and part divine. Like he is what mankind is. He's on the level of mankind. So that's why even like in more extreme fundamentalist kind of Christian religions, like it's the devil, of course. Like that part's demonized. Like our animal and divine nature is more demonized because it's like that's threatening to admit that Dionysus, that goat god, is on the same ground as us.
All right, let me play your first Hindu trance video. Want to set it up? Is there anything you want to say about it?
I just found like a bunch of really cool stuff, like especially with Hinduism and their trance or ecstatic dancing. This is a really cool, I just like find it so fascinating. This is like a snake god in a human body. So actually, can you start it like a little bit before 2:48, because it's basically like two minutes, yeah, that's good, of like him prepping, and everyone there supporting him prepping. And so it's better to allow the snake god to come into his body, to be possessed and let the snake come. And so I do suggest if anyone can watch like the whole video, it's so cool to watch like the whole thing, because it builds, like it's this tension that kind of builds.
Has it not happened yet?
No, he's doing it right now.
Okay. I thought maybe
It's
his
like-
head was going to explode or something.
No, you can literally see, like, when I first
Yeah.
watched it, it's why it's like, it's good to watch it from the beginning because it builds all this tension.
Okay.
But the way, like, his eyes open, once you see, like, his whole face is covered with this stuff, and then his eyes open exactly like a snake's would. And,
Yeah.
like, to do, like, if you've ever watched a snake, like, moving back and coiling in on itself, like, he literally does that all the way to the ground. That it's
Yeah,
just, like, and they're just blaring these horns, like, it's just, like, and it looks like it's filmed on, like, the worst camera ever, but it's also just, like, the coolest, like, what is happening here?
And like, could you see the way his mouth was moving too? Like he was like
Yeah.
breathing differently. Like it was like the way a
Oh yeah, like when you watch it really, like really intently, it's like that man just turned into a snake. Like
He got possessed by something.
It was very animalistic, you could see, but
Yes.
not in like a subtle way. Like you could kind of tell, like you could kind of see the transformation happened as he got lower to the ground and like his eyes and his breathing. That was cool.
It's really cool.
Do you know what's interesting looking at all the sexual instinct examples is that regardless of where in the world it is, because I had never seen that video before, but one thing that's common or across the board is that whenever people are trying to get possessed and get enraptured and entranced, like everyone knows that what needs to be playing in the background needs to be like, it needs to be crackling, it needs to be charged.
Yeah.
Like it can't
Yes.
be, so because the state that you're trying to reach is this charged, unstable state, and so everything about it is just like vibrating with energy.
Yes. I think it's too because like drumming and horns and bells and stuff like that. Like this, it being stimulated with that much energy. Like a lot of people too will use smells like incense and stuff like that, because it's like when you're being like, your senses are being like assaulted, you can finally get out of yourself. It's like
Yes.
your ego
Yeah, that's
has
great.
no place here. You can't
Absolutely.
Yeah, like you can't talk to anybody, you can't worry about what you're looking like you are being assaulted
Yeah.
on so many different degrees that you finally let go. Like you finally just let it go and you
That's-
just let yourself be taken by something.
That's why people love concerts and raves, because you are enveloped in
Yeah.
an experience where you have to just go for a ride. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
great.
the second one that I have there, you can just start from the beginning. It's a lot. It's a certain ceremony that they do, a several day like ritual that happens, and it's an assault of the senses, and
Nice.
lots of people go into trances, and it's very loud.
What is he smoking?
I don't know.
Is there more stuff
Yeah,
going on?
there's other people that get into trances and dance and stuff like that. You can kind of just see them like just into it, what they're doing. But basically this one,
So what I also thought was interesting is also what's common is that they are looking to be intoxicated. So there was alcohol, drugs, hallucinogens involved, because you want to, as much as possible, get to that point where it's easy to lose control and you can let something come through.
Yeah, and this specific ceremony it's called Taipusam, which is like They're god of war. That's why you also see hooks of the bells in their back. Like they hook themselves in their skin. Like these men will also like hook these huge like silver and gold machine looking things around them to carry burdens and sins and other kinds of things. Like it can be sort of like brutal but also ecstatic because it's just the acknowledgement of some kind of god's play. That's another thing I found in a lot of sexual instinct stuff, was like to acknowledge that there is drama of the divine, like divine drama, and it's like literally just playing out that drama and letting it be like a human expression of some kind.
Right. When I was looking into the myth of Dionysus, and which is, you could just say, sexual instinct collectively, or what it represented at that time, the origins of theater also had to do with Dionysus. And so just playing out drama as a way to collectively have like a cathartic download from the gods, because that's what the sexual instinct is in this, how to cross between realms. So if I want to energetically blend with God, that's what the sexual instinct is trying to do. And so to play out some kind of drama as in theater, because then we get to empathetically experience something through the actors channeling something from the gods.
Right. Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Because I want you to see the different voodoo. The ones that we are going to see now, they are a little bit violent because they are the protectors. They protect people against witchcraft, against evil.
Right, violent, did you say?
Yeah, violent. Yes, this is the temple of Koku. And I can tell you that Koku is a very strong spirit.
Right.
And you are going to see, but just become, it's going to be okay.
Even Martine seems nervous. The Gunvier Islanders worship a god here called Koku, and he has a thirst for human blood. As we arrive, they're summoning his spirit to possess them, and it doesn't take long. People start going into trances, and once possessed, Koku throws their bodies around and makes them harm themselves. Everything feels completely chaotic and unhinged, and dangerous. Possessed followers are running violently into each other and us. There's a gathering of believers in the shrine.
Sort of want to see what's going on, but I also don't want to be in the way. Should we go over and see what's happening inside?
Don't get inside. I don't want you to be possessed.
Then the followers bring out knives and start slashing themselves.
Whoa.
The knives aren't razor sharp, but they're still hitting themselves hard and definitely drawing blood. This seems completely out of control. The possessed descend on us. Martine and I are pulled reluctantly into the ceremony. It's frightening. I don't want my own voodoo scars.
I'm so scared right now.
And Koku isn't satisfied with just knife slicing. No one seems to know what's going on.
So, like, one thing, too, about, you know, other than the possession thing, it's like sexual instinct is kind of, like, hidden in a lot of parts. Like, this is not, like, acceptable in a lot of places.
Sure.
So it's like, you know, this type of energy, and again, it also has to do with the body, it's self-pres, but it's also social, like everyone is there. It's like, to have these kind of boundaries crossed, like, we don't often have places for that type of energy, and like to accept that that's a part of human nature, and also, you know, sort of holding this strange divine connection. So to have a place, like a container that this can be expressed in, and understood and felt and seen by everybody is like majority of why a lot of people, like, I mean, most of the culture is just naturally sexual blind. It's like you don't want to look at that kind of stuff a lot of the time.
This is worth, well, the episode we might do on just sexuals everywhere. It's just looking at if this is something that we need and we have created rituals for, people are still going to enact these rituals, whether they're going to call it or have a container for it or not. You know, just like people, dudes going out and drinking, getting fucked up, drunk. Just dudes that go out to drink, get fucked up, just so they can fight someone. Like a lot of guys go out. I want to get fucked up so that I might potentially get either really injured or injure someone. And this kind of need to bloodlet and harm or self-harm is like there's a need to go beyond my boundaries and have some rupture where I confront something and have some explosive event that I have no control over. Something came over me and I got violent with a stranger is something that people enact still.
Yeah, and people then don't know what came over them. Whereas in a ritual like this, it's like, that is Koku. That's what came over you. Like, it is a god. And so then when we have it happen here, we're like, that's a mental illness.
Right. Yeah, you have anger issues. You have... it's your sexual instinct needing to come out in some way.
Yeah.
Okay, this is really interesting. Flamenco has origins with the gypsies, and there's something in flamenco called duende that is almost kind of like mystical, and people have done plenty of documentaries and written about it. And essentially what it is there's a point in the performance where something else comes through. Like, you could call it spirit. Like, the performer is so in what they're doing that something beyond what could be explained comes through in the performance, that they get in touch with something beyond what they're doing, and the hairs on people's skin like goes up. Like, everyone knows that there's something beyond has come through, and it has this mythical kind of, like, you can only wish you could achieve duende. And I was like, dude, they're talking about the sexual instinct. And so
that's how I felt about the snake man. I think Sammy and I felt that about the snake man. It's like, oh, he's a snake.
So just check this out. And it's also gotten demonized. Flamenco has gotten demonized in many parts of the world because of this thing that they're talking about. I was like, this is really fucking cool. So this guy did a there's so many documentaries about this thing and articles too. It's just worth checking out on your own.
When I first arrived to Spain with my idea to make a film, I had an abstract, maybe cliche vision of gypsies playing flamenco outside their caves. Whatever vision I had in my head, it was a far cry from the well-rehearsed professional stage. What I was looking for was a more personal look into the streets and homes of the flamenco world. What was most important to me was to find something spontaneous, raw, and pure. I wanted something real and that may even have this thing that some call duende.
El duende es una cosa que todo el mundo lo tiene.
One moment of truth.
De un pellizco largamos una cosa enorme. Porque lo que tú llevas adentro, de esa cosilla que hay, cuando eso sale, eso está ahí.
Duende es una cosa para mí que aparece cuando me da la gana.
So it's getting at this sense of you're so beyond yourself, besides yourself, that something in you has unleashed itself through the performance, and you're channeling something where people are like, holy shit, the moment has happened. And it's beyond anything you try to fabricate. And that's why people are having a hard time. Like, if you ask people, what the hell is this thing? There's so many, it's like a mystical thing, but it's getting at that sexual instinct thing of you're entranced, and when you're undone and you unleash something, it's like you can't really name it. It's losing control.
Yeah. And that's where it's like in every one of these, like the body is so important because it's the energy that happens through the human alone. Like it can't be in, I don't know, something virtual or something in communication, like us talking or something. It's not just, it has to be in like energy, like energetic expression and, you know, losing yourself to something else. Like, yeah, it's there.
This woman was doing a workshop about Duende, and I was just like looking to see if she would use the language that I thought would be sexual instinct, and she does.
Whatever your endeavors, just like in a flamenco performance, the possibility of having your Duende moment, your moment of soaring emotion and profound sense of self, your in the zone moment exists, but with the realization that its achievement is a shared, not a solo mission. So seek out more opportunities for tangible moments, these person-to-person group interactions, where the spirit of humanity allows you to plug in and recharge as you continue your search for the best you.
I was watching it and I was like, wow, she's like talking about plugging in and recharging. That's what it is. Okay. This is what we've been waiting for. In churches, they're not just black churches, but churches in general, where people are going wild. I'm sure you've all seen it.
Please jump to
People are running.
I keep trying to praise him too, because he's working some stuff out for y'all. He's working some stuff out for you, Lucinda. Before you get home, before you get home, it's already worked out. Because of your another yes. Your another yes. Come on, shout out, yeah! You praise him for your breakthrough. It's here for you tonight.
All right. And then I found this really strange one. To have something like that erupt in church, that is sexual instinct. Anybody's
weird.
wondering what that is sexual instinct. We were watching stuff about Mamoiada as a sort of a self-press guy, but it's also sexual. And so this is an example of one of their rituals, and it's usually a possession ritual, but this was the first time I saw one where that's kind of the whole process of there's a dancing, and then you get possessed by it, and then there's a whole bunch of stuff that you have to do, clothing you have to wear. That's really fucking interesting.
Yeah, that's cool.
That happened to me once after taking an edible.
Oh yeah, what happened?
I don't know, I was experiencing something kind of scary, like physically, but I told myself to just stay with it. And I don't know, like I stayed with it, and it got me in touch with my body, and I just started dancing. Like I put music on and I was dancing, but I was dancing in ways that like I had never danced before. Like
There you go. Yep.
I was like using like strength and poses that like I didn't even know I could do, and it was like I lost track of time completely.
You were
Probably like
possessed.
over an hour passed. I think I
Wow.
was possessed. I was in a trance.
That's
Because I
pretty
took
fucking
an
cool.
edible. No, but it really did feel like something was coming through me. Because, yeah, the music I had on was loud. It was very high frequency. And I wasn't even aware of what I was listening to. It was like the music was being experienced, like, fully
Mhm.
through my body. And it just, I don't remember much of what happened, but it was really cool.
Yeah, we need to. If we're ever gonna do a live, we just do a live possession,
Yeah.
Live trance dance.
live trance.
I've done trance dancing with like without drugs.
Oh wow, look at you.
No, it's when you it's when you like do breath work. Like there's a type of
Oh,
like
yeah,
high
yeah.
you can get when
Yeah.
you're just breathing continuously in and out, and loud drums were being played. And when
Mhm.
you do that for a long enough time, like you're just kind of gone, you know. And I think there are ways that you can, again, like that kind of assault of the senses of just music and smells and noise and stuff like that. And like if you have your eyes closed, like you're just in a completely like out of yourself.
You know that hugging Saint Amma, the sexual ain't?
Yeah.
The sexual eight. She, besides hugging people, the ceremonies that she puts on are that. They're like these Dionysian,
Oh.
really loud. It's helping me recognize all the different normal ways that sexual shows up, because trying to localize sexual as just a sexual attraction instinct just misses all the different ways that it's a necessary part of being human that doesn't have anything to do with sexuality. I mean, of course, like there's sexuality in the entrancement and wanting to be possessed, but not necessarily about, you know, a romantic partner or anything like that, just as a instinctual need that we all have, that we're always meeting in our own ways.
Yeah.
And so it's really been cool just to see sexual instinct as way more available than I originally thought, even as a sexual type. It's like there are ways that I've been engaging with this that I wasn't even aware of.
Yeah, because I think in sexuality, it's understanding the pleasures and the pains of the body itself.
Uh-huh.
So, like, you know, all of these examples we showed were a good mix of, like, really pleasurable, ecstatic experiences and really, like, hyper amplified, painful experiences of the body. And there's a way that, like, that is our container in self-pres, like our container of how we experience those things and our connection to them spiritually. That is part of your sexuality. Like you understanding which gods are working through you when you're experiencing either pleasure or pain, which is then part of like social projection, because you're putting that onto your partner and you're making them into like a god and your dynamic with them into one. So it's like that type of internal understanding and experience makes up your sexuality.
Yeah. There, even just we talked about the need for destruction in sexual, like the need to spill blood and puncture something, and you know, I didn't have anywhere to put that before. There's a way that anyone really, without or wherever sexual is in someone's stacking, there is something destructive about sexual, in the sense that to go beyond a boundary, to get beyond yourself, there is a requirement for something more violent, something more charged.
There's a cost, yeah. And in each instinct, there is a cost. It's like every instinct when you're looking at it through these ritualistic ways, it's like acknowledging the suffering that an instinct has in a human when you live in a world or a planet that we do. So it's like, it's a physical way to actually acknowledge the cost of that instinct.
Yeah.
Like, and so each one has one that is either painful or brings pleasure or abundance. Like, and it's our responsibility as individuals and collectively to like maintain the health of that and to maintain a connection with that, not just physically and materially, but also spiritually.
Yeah, that's good. In self-pres, the cost is literal. And then in social, like the cost is, I don't know, just maybe more being witnessed or symbolic. And then sexual, like it's the cost of like, you're not in control. Your body is the fuel for a fire that you're not in control of where it might go, and so that's the risk. But each one carries a different risk.
Yeah, after watching all these, like I was like, oh, I think I get the instincts like on a super simple. I've been having dreams of traveling different like countries and stuff because it's like, it's just so cool to like feel that type of energy for each one. Like, I don't know if we can put the links or something in the bio if people want to watch the full videos for some of them. But yeah,
because we can talk about the instincts all day, try to come up with good descriptions, but to see the energetic differences between what these guys, social's trying to communicate something, self-pres is trying to offer something, receive something, and then sexual's trying to like charge up, like you could feel it, what they're trying to do, the music, it's reflected the same way wherever in the world they're trying to engage that instinct. It sounds the same or feels the same. Like there's I don't know what the fuck's gonna happen next thing about sexual.
Are we in danger?
Yes, we are. Even in a place like church, when the sexual instinct is activated, you're like, I don't know what the fuck is happening. I do not know what is happening. And nobody does.
Uncomfortable now.
So it's been really cool to like feel that, just in this medium to actually feel that the consistency culturally.
And even though we kind of tried to isolate each instinct, like every single ritual, if you expanded on it enough, it has all three somewhere.
Yes.
It's just some like, will be more focused on self-pres because of like a season is changing. But there's always going to be some kind of social signifier there as well. And some kind of like drinking or like acknowledging the gods or something like kind of all three play a sort of part in. Yeah, it's just, some will take more precedence than others in different
I forgot to include, well, we don't have enough time, but I thought in church there's so many. Like, the communion is self-pres. The baptism is both social and sexual in the sense that water represents a death and rebirth. And the water goddess that we talked about, Mami Wata, she takes people into the water, and then those people come back with powers. And so anytime you submerge someone, it's kind of representing being taken by the sexual instinct and you are reborn. And so it's like the church even has, baptism has some sexual in it, even though you're baptized in front of people, so there's social there. But it's like just really interesting to see, like if you look at all the things we do and try to categorize them as, which instinct is leading here, you start to see that, like sexual is... I mean, you can see social in the self-pres much more clearly, but for a while I thought sexual was just, it has to do with this part of life and that's it. But it's like, there's so many different ways that this is a part of so many things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think it's because we don't have that language in our culture now to be addressing it in that way. We kind of have to put it back into the language.